American Americans, multi-ethnic stew, composed of people, persons, human beings. Singularly, we knew that dreams and goals are why they came, reasons for you and I to sit and ponder who we are and how to say their name. Indigenous foreigners, sweating to make demands, healthy, harmonic individuals who always say, I can. Striving for peace and excellence. These are the Americans, people of a promised land. Mixed language, clear, sometimes vague, repetitious messages of enlightenment. A newfound age, a new ethnicity, composed like sand. Many colored marbles held in one hand. America's American Americans, natives of the new land. American Americans, them, us, you, and I, grown sometimes from foreign seed, from every land, ready to die for causes, mine or yours, is what we are. American Americans, from near, from far. Generations grown away from ancestral dirt, upon foreign soil, given to the proposition that all people are created equal, and yet distinctly and individually different, despite all commonalities. The new peoples of the North, South, East, and West, a concentrated commingling, the world's best. We are Americans, born of many names. We have come, we have died, and we shall come again. For we are America's American Americans.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
Hey, sorry about that. It's me and Craig.
Yes.
We've been here watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, that's okay. But we hope you got something out of it. Maybe found yourself in there somewhere or can identify to its cause. We're speaking to issues of commonality. Who we are as a nation. We're a nation of Americans of all different colors and breeds and languages and ethnicities. And oh my God, we're just a big tossed salad full of all kinds of goodies. That's how I see it anyway. I hope everybody else sees themselves that way. The one thing I love about everybody who's come to this country and who are in this country, we all have a common that we share. It's being American. It's being American. And I'm not talking about some crazy Christian nationalist. I'm talking about just being an American.
Mm-hmm.
Loving the things about what America means. Opportunity, growth, freedom of thought and expression. Those things are beautiful. Those things are wonderful. And, I love that about this. And I love that about everybody who comes here seeking that. So you come here wanting to be an American, then you're an American, period. And you should be an American first. That's how I am. I feel how I feel. Now, you may disagree with me, but I wasn't born in Mexico. And even if I was, and I wanted to come here and be an American, I'd be an American first. I'd still be a Mexican, but I'd be an American Mexican because my home would be America. So I would acknowledge and respect the fact that I'm here and that this is my home. So I'm not trying to tell anybody that they should divorce their culture. No. That's who you are. That's you can never divorce who you are. That's crazy. However, you're also an American. And look at the opportunity that you are trying to obtain, that you have a potential to get that you could not someplace else. Now, I know right now times are rough. Don't get me wrong. I get it. It's tough to be a Mexican right now. I even wonder if it wasn't that I spent so much time at home due to other issues we won't discuss, but I'd be a little concerned about being in public. I'd be like, any day somebody's going to stop me and say, "Show me your papers. I want to see them." I'd be like, I quit using papers, man. Not any papers, dude. So they probably take my ass to jail. I take this one. He's smoking that Pacololo, that crazy Poco Loco. Anyway, so not to be a wise guy about it all, but I do hope you enjoyed our little video. Craig put all the images together, did a hell of a job as usual.
Well, you did the hard part, brother. You wrote that beautiful piece, and as you were speaking, unless you're a Native American, we all came from someplace. And what struck me with the beautiful words that you wrote, David, and trying to match the imagery with your words, that we're all equal. There's no person, certainly in the eyes of God, that there's none of us greater than the next person in the lineup. We all came here for the same desires, the same wants, the same needs, the same everything. A better tomorrow, if you will. And that's it. It's real basic. It's real simple. Every family has the same worries, the same hopes, the same excitement. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Pretty basic.
Thanks, Craig. I appreciate that. I wrote this actually, I don't know, over 20 years ago.
Wow, that long.
Yeah. It was a thought I've had for quite a while about what gets in the way of all of us. I'm not saying becoming an amalgamated society to the point where we lose our cultural perspectives or histories, but it is important to understand each other, and the only way to do it is to know each other. And I think the easiest way to do it is to quit separating ourselves by distinctions like, I'm Mexican American, yeah. I'm Chinese American, and come on, I'm African American. No, you're an American African, an American Mexican. Come on. I mean, truly, as was expressed in the poem, indigenous foreigners. Give me a break. How does that happen? I mean, the irony and at the same time, the beauty of it. It tears at me. I come from that society. I never knew what I was growing up. I grew up in the Midwest until I was about 12, and then East San Jose, and was told that I'm a Mexican like everybody else. And even though I knew I was Mexican growing up in Colorado, I didn't understand it. And then I was told I was a Chicano. Okay. But bottom line is, the thread line through all of that, as I'm sure with most people here in this country, is that I'm an American. I'm here. I have a right to vote. Now, I'm not going to get into the discussion of voter suppression and all that's being conducted, but I have a right to vote. I have a right to express what I think and believe and feel, provided I don't yell fire in a crowded theater or cause people to harm each other, provoke violence. I can say what I want, period. And if I want to say that I think as somebody running for office is a liar and a fraud and a cheat and a convict and a rapist and go on and on and on, that's okay. That's quite all right. That's my right to do. And that person, remember, thrust themselves into the political limelight. There's no protections there. Hey, and here's the real killer. I don't know if everybody else is paying attention to this, but when it's true, whoa. Think about that. Think about that. So I don't know, man. It could be me. I want to change the subject real quick for a minute because we're talking about frauds and liars and storytelling, in that arena. I want to talk about storytelling in another arena. My good buddy over here, let's see which way. Ooh, that way.
I know. I'm always confused. I point this. I got it right this time.
You did. You got it.
You have to go opposite. I got it right.
That's right. My good buddy just wrapped his film Henry that he's been in, and I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I would like to turn this to him for a minute and tell us about his experience.
Oh, well, that was unexpected. Yeah, this whole month of June, you caught me a little bit off guard. I don't want to. We'll just touch on this later today. Go back up to LA for the wrap party. Get a chance to see everybody. But yeah, for the month of June, driving from South Orange County to LA, it was great experience. The cast and crew were lovely folks. I played Uncle Robert, and I will say this gentleman to my left.
Don't let him shift like that. He does that stuff. There he is. That's him.
No, I got it down.
We want to hear about you on the set, not about me helping you. Okay.
No, I'm going to say that because that was really helpful. I won't I've said that in a previous video, so I won't go down that path. But that was helpful because I had some modest concerns about some cobwebs to dust off as an actor, but David got me through that. So it was a great experience. There was one scene that the writer director allowed me and my scene partner to do some structured improv, which was a lot of fun as a warm-up exercise, and she liked it so much. She kept it in the film, so we'll see that in the end result. But it was a great experience. The film is delightful. It's going to first go out to some festivals, and then from there, the plan is to be released theatrically. I'm guessing probably after the first of the year. So there you go. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So it just goes to show, folks, you're never too old. Especially
what are you saying now? Who's too old now? I didn't know where you're going. Yeah, you're never too old.
Hey, now I'm older than there he is. I'm older than him. All right, just so you know.
My haircut.
Well, enough. Don't start talking about hair. It's thinning. Hair today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I've always, believed that every day is the first and last.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and so use it wisely. And don't tell yourself you can't do something. Until
but
you.
If I may, David, on that, you're never too old. There were a number of younger people on set, and I had that same conversation, about you're never too old. And some folks watching this, to your point, by all means, always jump in the fray. I'm sorry, my Doberman is knocking at the door, and she's gonna. I have a guest. Come on in.
Does he say hi?
You have to love podcasts.
Right on.
What am I going to do? Right? She's gonna keep knocking.
Well, I keep my dogs in the shoe. So anyway.
Yeah. Well. I keep mine on my bed.
There you go. So it's been a horrendous week, as all of you are aware. Bombings and lyings and bullshit and dog shit and all kinds of crap going on every which way about what the truth is and isn't. And the interesting thing is that the problem with most that I see politicians is the truth. The truth gets in the way of objectives. Objectives in a political arena may have multiple facets. It may not just always be one thing. There may be a multitude of things they're wanting to get. And in order to get these thumbs, they got to put up with these fingers. The thumbs are what they really want, but they got to put up with the fingers. So they say, well, which fingers? Do we need this one? This one? Which one? Which one do we really need? These? We don't know. All of them? Is it a grab for everything? I'm making light of stuff because it's the only way I can keep a clear head, a calm mind about what we're doing. Earlier, Craig and I were discussing to what extent can we be constructively worthwhile, especially a lot of us older people. How can we do it? You do the best that you can do. And what you cannot do, you have no control over, you leave it alone. Now, I'm not saying you roll over and let the steam engines come over and mow you down. I'm saying you do everything you can to take care of yourself. If that includes protesting, writing letters, making phone calls, contributing money, you do that. If it means talking to people in the line at the store, the post office, you do that. Your neighbors, you do that. And not in a hostile way. You're not going to get anything. You can't tell somebody, look, you're an asshole and what you believe is just totally wrong. You may feel that way. A great many people do. What's that going to get you? I always wonder, how do they not know? As a teacher, I'm an adjunct professor at a few colleges in the Bay Area years ago. But I've been in a lot of teaching environments, public and private. And I've always had one objective, and that is to understand how I can help somebody else understand.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I didn't play hide and seek with the answers. Matter of fact, every exam I ever gave, and I've given some very difficult exams in contract law and other things, and I've always felt my job was to give them the understanding, which includes all the answers to all the problems. So I told them every answer to every problem that was going to be on every exam I ever put together. Don't get me wrong, that didn't make it any less difficult. But I gave them a chance at understanding. Now, a good many people get confused by an understanding. They don't get what something really means. It's not because they're stupid or because they don't want to know. It's because they're getting the wrong information. Now, we sit here and we complain about the media. Oh, the media is a bunch of bullshit. Some of them are. Fox News, straight up. Fox News, straight up. They're getting sued again. They're getting sued again. Fox News is straight up just a bunch of bullshit. They were admittedly said, we're just for entertainment, God, it's that kind of thing, we talk story, which brings us to the current administration, which is the majority of Fox News reporters. Oh my God. But that's not where I'm going with this. I want to get back to understanding and the difficulty that we have in interpretation of information. Now, the Supreme Court just recently made some rulings, one of them a very heavy ruling that's being slung around in a lot of different understandings that are not true. One of them in particular, that the birthright citizenship aspect of the Constitution was ruled against by the Supreme Court in favor of Donald Trump's policy of abolishing it. Not true. Not even close to true. Wasn't even considered. The issue never even came up. That wasn't the issue that brought it before the Supreme Court. The issue that brought it before the Supreme Court was an issue that the last several presidents of this country, both sides, Democrat and Republican, have had issue with. And that is the ability for one federal judge in one district, one court someplace, to enjoin a policy or law promulgated by the executive branch or elsewhere, Congress, and squash it throughout the land. Make it applicable throughout the land. One person in one district. Now, why is that a problem? Well, first of all, federal law are laws that are generally congressionally mandated or constitutionally mandated. Anything that falls into that sort of a broad spectrum. Okay, and there's a lot of different types of federal laws. Anything that has to do with the several states, if you will, and they generally have jurisdiction over state laws, straight out. All right, if there's a conflict in there. If they're compatible, no problem. Now, in a federal law, the problem that arises is who is the person who's interpreting the applicable interpretation of that law relative to whatever the complaining party, the party who the plaintiff is bringing to the court to adjudicate. Well, what if that federal judge has a political bias? That is obvious. And a lot of them do, folks. Straight out, they do. And we'll talk about that separately. But what if he has a political bias? And as such, he's going to enjoin whatever policy is put forth and spread that injunction across the entire land. Bam. Well, some may say, well, that could be a good thing, in certain circumstances if he's trying to do. Well, you're right. In certain circumstances, it could be a good thing. If it stops something from happening that could affect, vast majorities of innocent people, and they enjoin it, yes, that's a good thing. Depriving some mass majority of people, like voters, from being able the right to vote, that's a good thing. But what else could be the problem? Well, it could be the opposite. Mm-hmm. A bad thing. And unfortunately, we get judges who allow their own political bias to, unfortunately, create a state of mind where they're going to let that prejudice their opinion. Now, I'm not saying that they're intentionally cheating. Oh, let's bullshit. Yes, they are. They are. So what they're doing is they're interpreting it towards their political views, straight out. That's the problem. So what they want to do is broaden the scope of the executive branch so that one person can't enjoin it. That doesn't mean it can't be brought forth still as an action. It would just have to be brought in a different vehicle to get to the court. Okay? Such as a class action. Goes through a little more changes. You have to show that people, potential victims, people who can be caused harm or similarly situated, the harm is very specific, etc., like deprivation of voter rights. So it can still be brought. It's just a different format. It's not going to allow these appellate judges to rule this way. That's what they're saying. So it had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with citizenship rights, birthrights, period. And that issue, folks, will not be struck down. I do not believe the court will strike that down because that is at the core of this democracy. That is at the core of the Constitution. Mm-hmm. I do not, and that's my opinion, that they will not strike it down. I don't see how they could. They would have to go through a whole constitutional convention to revise it. Not going to happen. Judicial intervention is not going to have the ability to strike down the birthright clause. And let's just say it does. All right. Does stupid Trump realize that his wives all gave birth to children here when they were non-citizens, and his current wife was an illegal alien here? She came over on a visa to do one thing, didn't do it, started working, which she was not supposed to. And what was she doing working? I think she was some kind of escort, or I don't know, escort. Did she escort people to their lounge chairs, or I don't know, through a tour of the museum? How did she escort them? I don't know, but yeah, she was an escort. She made a lot of money doing it, so go figure. Then she meets Bozo, and she gets pregnant, and they have a baby, and she's not a citizen yet. Wait a minute, does that make Barron the illegal baby? Yes, it does, and all of other Trump's children as well. Oh, and wait a minute, didn't they also bring over her parents, his current wife? I don't want to, blemish her name by repeating it, so I'll just say his current wife. We know he's had a few, right, and cheated on all of them. But notwithstanding all that, how did he get her parents over here? Isn't that the very thing he's bitching about with immigration, chain families coming over? So who's to be taken out first? Donald Trump's children and his current wife? His in-laws? Well, let's get rid of the in-laws. Who cares? What are they doing here anyway? Probably just collecting Social Security, right? Showed up and filed for Social Security. I don't know if that's true or not, but I wouldn't doubt it. So let's really call it what it is and what it isn't. Okay? Remember something. You're talking about a human being who does not know what he is doing. He speaks out of both sides of his neck, as we used to say growing up. How do you deal with a guy like that? You can't trust anything he says. You can't trust anything he says. He's not going to war. He's at war. He's going to stop the war. Never stop the war. Drop egg prices? Never happened. The only thing we know for sure is that he's deporting anybody with an Hispanic surname as fast as possible. As fast as possible. Why? Oh, well, wait a minute. What's that causing? What's that causing? How are those tomato prices? How are them grape prices? I'm going to check that shit out. Right? Who's picking those fields for y'all? I don't know. I picked onions, bunched radishes, picked prunes, walnuts. Didn't do grapes. Didn't pick grapes. But picked pears, peaches. Yeah, made some money too. Made some money. Did it in the summertime. My brothers and I, what the hell? There's no shame in honest work, none whatsoever. I was not ashamed of doing that at all. I made money, made good money. I've been a servant many times, a busboy, a waiter. I've been a personal aide to a quadriplegic man. I know what it is to wipe up a mess. So, when we look at each other and we say, why are we here? I think it's very, very simple. We love America. We're all Americans. We love democracy. We want it to live. And we'll be damned if we're going to allow a group of racist, nationalistic Nazis destroy our country, our democracy. Remember, we are all Americans first. Let's let not anything get in the way of that. Nothing. It's important that we put that common bond out front first from now on. We recognize each other as such. We are all one family. Many colored marbles held in one hand. We're Americans. That's about all I got to say on this. I'm burning myself out here already. Craig, I'm going to turn this over to you and let you say what you feel about it.
I just have to say I'm with him, and me too. I mean, I can't top that. That's it, man. I think that's a wrap. That was spot on, brother. I think we bring this puppy home.
All right. We want to thank you for joining us here on the porch. And remember, look for Henry in the near future.
I'll be
You
the
see
old
that?
guy in case you can't figure that piece out for yourself.
Thank you so much for joining us. You have a pleasant Sunday. Take care. Peace.
Bye all.